All right, folks, that means it's showtime here. Welcome back to Kasparovchess. I'm Mig Greengard, hosting here a recap of the candidates. And meanwhile, to talk about the challenge of the challengers and the candidates, we have a former world champion himself who, as we have discussed a little bit off the mic, did not really have much experience as a candidate himself in the past.
I was a candidate before the oldest participant of this candidate was born.
Yikes.
I think Grishuk was born. Actually, that's exactly the year. Yes, 82, 83. That was my candidates period, and Grishuk was born, I think, in 1983.
Yes. Right. So meanwhile, we have a candidate.
Let's go back to 2021.
Back to 2021.
Rounds 9 and 10.
Right.
Of the candidates. Yes, 8 games, 2 decisive games. Actually, it's this in the first 3 rounds in the second half of the tournament. There were 4 decisive games. I think White won all. So what's happened in the last 2 rounds? Right. Nepomniachtchi so increased his lead. So he made a very comfortable draw with Black against Grishuk, and quite easily just got a point against Alexeyenko. That's a problem, with young, inexperienced players. He could play a great game one day, and it was very, very unimpressive in his game against Nepomniachtchi, and that was an easy point, but very important point, because now it's a full point between Nepomniachtchi and 3 other players who are pursuing him. MVL, Caruana, and Garry. While, Garry could be quite comfortable with his position because he eventually won a game, a very good game in round 9 against Wang Hao. Positional game. He didn't have much, but he kept pressing, and eventually scored.
Right, and you sounded impressed with Garry. He's not known for being the most ambitious player, but you said that you sensed maybe a different tone with him, that he's being a little more incisive, a little more. Or
yeah, but he's playing better. I mean, just look at his latest results.
Better period.
Latest results, it's even on Vikings and even at this Magnus Tour. So yeah, Garry is getting more ambitious, and he's still solid, but ambitiously solid. And now you could see just some deadly signs in his solid foundation. So it's the like some spikes, like a new virus,
Too soon.
Yeah. And MVL was very lucky in round 9. Right. Ding Liren could basically bury him, just send him home. But losing 2 games in a row would be a devastating blow for MVL, and he was so close.
Right, that amazing move in the opening. Another piece sacrifice. I mean, MVL has to start feeling like he's a bit of a target here. Now, his first 2 games back after a year off, he's faced piece sacrifice novelties in the opening against the 2 strongest players.
Yeah, but it's not about novelty. I thought he could play just more reasonable opening with Black. 3 H4 at move 3. For me, just somebody who played King's Indian or Benoni just for most of my life. So I always laughed looking at this 3 H4, but it seems to me it's working against Greenfield players because MVL is not as good in other structures. So when if he's not allowed to play D5 comfortably, so it's creates different kind of positions, and he looked helpless. And after knight D4, I guess he had to take the piece, but he decided to give it back, and it's he was absolutely lost. I mean, and it's not just lost, in the position where White had to be dynamic, just to be creative, just the position requires some sort of immediate action. They could simply just improve the position, put more and more pressure.
Right.
And
which usually he's very good at. I mean, that's kind of his thing. Ding is a technical master.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. Ding doesn't care.
Because he's out of it in the standings, right? He's in last place.
He's out of it in the standing. He doesn't care. So he just made a couple of slow moves, and then he played D6 too early, and then he maybe still had winning chances, but I think he just lost interest, and MVL survived. So, which, good for us, good for him, good for us, because it kept, kept an intrigue. Because we have now not two players behind Nepo, but three. And Caruana, after his brilliant game against MVL in round 8, of course. So he had quite uneventful draw with Alexei. So it was just Caruana. Maybe he had little chances here and there, but never was never close. And today against Dink, I think Caruana thought that Dink maybe wouldn't mind and just would play poorly. No, but Dink played solid chess.
Right.
And if Dink plays solid chess, even if he doesn't care, he doesn't have to win. So you cannot beat him. And Caruana had to accept a draw. And I think actually Dink was pressing a little bit at one point. Okay. So that's where we are now. So Nepo +3 and 3 players with +1 behind him. Now, Nepo is facing 2 of them, Caruana and MVL, but he has white against both of them.
Right.
So 2 whites. And that's
good.
definitely good. That looks good. So probably all he needs is to survive in 4 remaining games. Mm-hmm. But still, you never know. It's because the tournament is divided in two groups now. You have top 4 and bottom 4. Right. So the Caruana or Garry or even MVL, they can start scoring against the bottom 4. So anything can happen, and so I don't think Nepo feels safe. So that's why I will be very surprised if he plays only for draws.
I was going to say he's got white against two of his closest pursuers, and that psychologically can be hard, though, right? I mean, the old sort of like playing to draw is playing to lose mentality.
But it's an interesting game in the next round, because we have day off. But the next round, so Nepo Caruana. Yeah, we're talking about Nepomniachtchi. He has white. He has full point ahead. But what about Caruana? Mm-hmm. So what would be his strategy for the game?
Right.
So let's say Nepo is not pushing hard. So will Caruana try to complicate things?
Right.
Knowing that if he loses, the tournament is over. Right. It's over.
And the tournament is over.
The tournament is over. Or he'll try to, just to play positionally, and if nothing happens, fine, draw, and hoping that he could recover the deficit in the remaining 3 games. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's a tough choice for Caruana.
Right.
And for MVL, okay, he has to go back to his winning streak a year ago. We didn't even mention the game today because that was the important one. Garry had black against MVL, and Garry played Sveshnikov, and again, MVL had plenty of time to prepare. And it's another, 1 year of preparation, right. But it didn't impress me. So he got slight initiative, but Garry equalized quite easily. So that was not a big challenge for Garry, and that's also a problem for MVL because it's you have to use white pieces if you want to catch up Nepomniachtchi. Right. So we'll see what happens. So the next round will probably help us to understand how the players are trying to approach the remaining 3 games after what will happen in round 11. Right. Obviously Nepo's chances to qualify, they look good, but he is known for being a bit erratic and nervous, and again, let's see how he can handle his nerves. Right. Because closer he gets to the dream of becoming a challenger, more difficult for him will be moving the pieces. That's they could become very heavy all of a sudden.
It's a great way to put it. Exactly. The hand is
yeah.
Right. Well, it's going to be an exciting one. We've got a couple more rounds to go, and hopefully we'll be able to even get live. We're going to be doing a little live broadcasting here next week. We hope maybe taking some of your questions. That'll be exciting. So hope you're ready.
Absolutely.
Are you ready to face the Twitch hordes? You faced worse things, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. Just look, Mig. This is I played a wall in 1999, so that's the famous game. So right. I'll be delighted just to see the hordes of chess fans asking me questions, and just finding more entertainment on Kasparovchess.
All right. And with that, we're going to wrap it up here. See you guys in a couple days with more here at Kasparov Chess.